The Zen Doctor with Dr. Stephen Simpson.
Hi, my name is Dr. Steve Simpson and welcome to episode 6. I'm in London at the moment looking down on the beautiful, iconic River Thames, and to the left I can see Canary Wharf and the high skyscrapers, which I guess is the new financial district. And if I look to the right I can see what is known as the City of London, a golden square mile, and I guess is full of the old buildings and is the old financial centre where people used to meet in the coffee houses and do their deals as the ships unloaded their cargoes from the Far East. Well, we're not going to the Far East today. We're having a look at life, and we're going to have a look at the game of Snakes and Ladders, which I played when I was a kid. It probably doesn't exist anymore, apart from in digital format. But the idea is you're supposed to go to the top of the board by you throwing a dice, and the one who gets there first is the winner and has all the bragging rights. If you land on a ladder, you zoom straight up the ladder several levels, and if you land on a snake, you go slithering down. So the object is to avoid the snakes, which in my opinion is not very wise, because snakes can be a lot more helpful than we might expect. Because the truth is that people usually learn more about life when things go wrong, rather than when things go right. And when we look at adversity in that kind of light, it's very empowering. Anyway, I hope that's whetted your appetite. Time for me to get back to some serious work, and I will be with you in a moment. Our progress on the path of life is rarely linear. More often it's a series of big leaps forward, usually followed by a crashing fall. We'll do well to remember the common expression that pride comes before a fall. At such times, our thinking often stifles our creativity and presents a huge obstacle in our search for success. It prevents us from getting lucky. But fortunately, there are some solutions, and they're not too difficult to understand. In my role as a mind coach, many of my clients have a project that they wish to complete, but for one reason or another, they're just stuck. We're all born to be creative, and a life lived without unleashing this talent will not be as fulfilled as it could be. So why do people get stuck? To the best of my knowledge, there's one main reason, and it's fear. It's the fear of not being good enough. It's the fear of not having enough time. It's the fear of not having enough motivation. There are plenty of other reasons, but these are the main ones. There is a solution to these barriers, and it's not rocket science. But before I share it with you, let's remind ourselves about why we may want to be a bit more psychoic, which is what I call the sweet spot between the psychic and the psychotic states of mind. This is the definition of psychosis from the Oxford English Dictionary. Psychosis is a severe mental disorder in which thought and emotions are so impaired that contact is lost with external reality. It can be easy to forget that psychosis is a spectrum. Some people are very psychotic, and this can be really serious, but fortunately most of us are much less so. What we all share is a huge problem understanding the difference between reality and fiction. I mentioned in the last episode that much of our conversations with each other, and indeed with ourselves, are not based on reality. Most of the time we're unaware of this, but the truth is that we are often lying to ourselves or to others. This is definitely not a criticism, it's just the way that it is. Let me share an example with you. A lot of people want to write a book, but very few people do. Some of those who do write a book don't publish it, usually because they think it's not good enough. This is rather sad because how many wonderful books, songs, sculptures and other works of art have not been completed because their creators lied to themselves, by which I mean their assessment of themselves was distorted. The reason why people get stuck with their projects is because they believe these lies. And the truth is, they are the last person to judge whether they or their projects are good enough. Leave it to others who are not emotionally connected to the project to give their verdict, and they will, and it'll be the usual mixture of 5-star and 1-star reviews and a few in the middle. The artist with this mindset has not only fully appreciated the joy of creating something as much as they could have done. This satisfaction should be irrespective of whether others like it or not. The satisfaction of completing a project has little to do with other people, but a lot to do with how we think about ourselves. Many of us, well, all of us to some extent, we've all been brought up to believe in the importance of the big picture, the importance of the plan, and the importance of mobilizing massive willpower to complete it. And I've been just as guilty as anybody else. It's taken me a long time to recognize the error of my ways, but I guess better late than never. In the next episode, we'll dive deeper into the creative process and the massive power of the largely untapped conscious mind. Get ready for the ride and fasten those seatbelts, because it can sometimes be a little more than a little turbulent. In the meantime, do something very different and actually very difficult too. And try stop beating yourself up. Okay, that's enough for now. See you next week. Goodbye.
If you have enjoyed the Zen Doctor with Dr. Stephen Simpson, then why not hit the subscribe button? The music, The Soul of the Shaman, was specially composed for the Zen Doctor.
To find out more, go to drstephensimpson.com.